have a late night talk show. Do you think that it's evolved in this era of having Donald Trump as a president?
Definitely, definitely. I mean, here's the thing. When the election started, you know, the 2016 campaign, Donald Trump was a joke. And then he became the candidate, and then he was like joke-ish. And then it got to election day, and people were like, oh, this is not funny anymore, right? And then over time, we've had to find a way to compartmentalize Donald Trump into two places. You go, he is a terrifying human being, but at the same time, he is hilarious. You have to admit these two contradictory things are happening in your mind.
Whether or not you want to.
Right, whether you want to. So he'll say and do things where you're like, I can't believe this is real life. And then he'll say and do things where you're like, I'm sorry, what? Say what again?
Yeah, like when he says, you know, the country is full. We're like, really? It's not full. What is he talking about?
He was just like, it's full, like it's booked, it's done. It was just like a hotel room. He was like, yeah, we're done.
We're fully booked.
Fully booked. But I understand what he's saying, and that's the hard thing with Donald Trump is you have to understand the message that he's sending to certain people, and then the message that you're hearing. So it's like he's speaking two different languages at the same time. So I'm always trying to interpret that on our show.
To decode it,
Yeah, you have to decode it.
And at the same time, Trevor, you do the best Donald Trump impression.
Oh, no.
Ever. Ever. So I want to know, like, for real, so how did you nail down his voice?
I think I do the worst, best Donald Trump impression. That's what I do.
It's hilarious.
So the thing I do is I always think to myself, all you have to do is imagine that somebody has poured like red ants down your back.
Oh, jeez.
Right? And so if you're speaking normally, he's got that thing where he starts speaking so low, so sweet, and then the ants bite, folks. They bite. You don't know when. And he goes low, so low. You don't know how it's gonna stay there. But all of a sudden,
It's so good. It's so good. That's really good. That's really good. You have a new podcast called On Second Thought, which debuts April 23rd on Luminary. Amazing. Awesome. What can we look forward to hearing you talk about?
Everything. It's a podcast that I've wanted to do for a while. So I think we live in a world where we consume so much information on a daily basis, but we consume nuggets of information. You know, we don't spend the time to read the actual article on the other side of the link. So we see a thing on Twitter, we base our information and our opinion on that.
Off the headline.
We're done. That's it. What's the headline? And so I realized even amongst my friends, we would have a conversation a week later, 2 weeks later, when the emotions had died down. And I thought, well, that's what I want to do. I want to create a show where it's a podcast where you can just sit and listen, and we talk about everything, whether it's news, whether it's politics, whether it's what's happening in social media or in just the world in general. And we just talk about it and go like, hey, now that we've calmed down, now that it's not happening right at this moment, how do we feel? And how can we process that information? Because I don't think we do enough of that these days. We just go, this is what's happening now, we're crazy, and then tomorrow it's done.
There's a need for that.
Yeah, it's done tomorrow.
It really is.
That's going to be good. Really good.
You need that, though. Some people don't know how to react after all the news that they're hearing.
I love your accent. Can I say that? That South African accent. The podcast.
How do you say? I say article. What do you say?
Article.
Love it.
Now, Trevor, your book, Born a Crime, Stories from a South African Childhood, has recently come out in paperback. It's an amazing book, by the way. Everybody, you've got to check it out.
Thank you very much.
But it came out with a censored version for young adults.
Right.
So why is it important for you to have a version for young adults out there?
Well, because a lot of parents said to me, hey, my kid loves your book. I read your stories to my child. And I wrote the book. It's a story about my life growing up. And initially I thought it was just a story about me. And then I came to realize it was genuinely...
It's a story about your mom.
Yeah, it's a story about my mom. It really is. It's a love letter to my mom. And, you know, she's the reason I'm here. She's the reason I am everything that I am today. And what was really great is a lot of parents said, hey, this works for us and for our kids. But there's a few parts of the story that are difficult for kids to comprehend, or can you change the language? And I was like, yeah, let's change it for young readers. It's still the same story. If it connects with them,
that
it's
is
good.
amazing.
So that's why we did it.
Amazing. Well, guess what, everyone? Trevor wants to make sure that you all have a chance to read his book, so everyone in the audience is going home with his young adult version of Born a Crime. You, and you. That's right. So for those of you watching at home, head on over to TheReal.com to enter for your chance to win a copy of your own book.